10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On January 1st, the SS Poseidon, en route from New York to Athens, was struck by a 90-foot tidal wave.
Oh, my God.
And capsized. Irwin Allen's production of The Poseidon Adventure.
Of 1,400 people aboard, only 6 will survive. This is their story.
That's the way out. That's our only chance.
Don't listen to him!
Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Red Buttons, Carol Lindley, Roddy McDowell, Stella Stevens, Shelley Winters, Jack Albertson, Pamela Sue Martin, Arthur O'Connell, Eric Shea, and Leslie Nielsen.
Who will survive? The combined talents of 15 Academy Award winners bring you
The Poseidon Adventure, a Ronald Neame film coming from 20th Century Fox.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to the show. Before we start the preamble, I just noticed that trailer had terrible spoiler alerts in it.
Oh, come on.
Only 6 will survive, so through the movie you could be counting, okay, right. There's 8 left, which 2 of them are gonna it's terrible,
a Where's Waldo episode.
Terrible spoiler trailer. But
it's almost as bad as the Terminator 2 trailer, damn it.
It is, yeah. But welcome to the show, everybody. Show we hope will get you as wet as we will be as we dive into the Poseidon Adventure, 1972 in brackets. As we know from doing disaster movies in this show, the 1970s were the golden age of disaster films, driven by all-star casts and high-stakes premises, and the Poseidon Adventure set a very high bar. The fact the bar wasn't really high anymore, it was low because it was underwater. You see what I did there? The film's success was driven by its gripping survival narrative. Who gripped Shelley Winters? That's the question. And innovative special effects, and it made it a cultural phenomenon and a benchmark for the genre. And I do well remember that. So Joe might too, from that era.
I was 7 years old. I love that movie, though.
Yeah, extremely popular. Had a 12-week run at #1 in the US, and strong global performance solidifies its status. So grab your popcorn, don your life jacket, and as we aim to take you deep, we're going to go down deep. So please click the like button, share the stream out, and all that other stuff they tell us we're supposed to ask for, which I think makes no difference whatsoever, but we're going to try. Let's get started. Welcome to the show, everybody in the chats. We are on YouTube. We are on Rumble. We are on the Twitterati, I believe.
I am monitoring all 3 chats. I don't see anything on the other 2, but the YouTube one is
the YouTube one and the Twitterati are working.
Yes, they are.
The Twitterati are working. So yeah, we're all on there. Leave if you are on Twitter and Rumble watching, and I know some people do. Leave a chat, and we will try and cut and paste it into here because only the YouTube ones will show at the moment. But thank you all for joining us for our latest dive into the disaster genre we love.
Yes, absolutely. It's too bad John Das Wolfen is not here because he is the biggest disaster film fan I know.
I'm glad you qualified that by not saying he's the biggest disaster you know.
No, disaster movie fan, sir.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, this is look. Irwin Allen is when you talk about disaster movies, then you have to mention his name.
The master of
he is
disaster.
the master of. Well, he's just
The
every
master
kind of
you could say.
action kind of
Yeah.
genre. I mean, he started in television. We know that, and I'm sure we'll get into his past and everything a little bit. But I always loved Land of the Giants. I thought that was one of the best things he ever did.
Oh, we've still got the wacky font here. Only Mr. Fantastic could get his arms around Shelley.
No kidding. No doubt.
She put 35 pounds in weight on for this movie. She's like doing the method. She was not that big, but she put it on for the movie. And she actually did workouts as a swimmer so she could convincingly do those parts. So fair play to her. Method acting,
That's method acting right there, man.
Absolutely.
You hear about these guys slimming down and almost scary levels, but who ever heard of packing on pounds? Well, Sweeney did it recently for a boxing movie.
That's right. And Stella Stevens, I believe, worked hard on adding a few pounds to her bust for this movie. So, flotation devices. Come on,
right? Got to stay above water, right?
Yeah. By the end of this, I'm going to try and fix this bloody font by the end of this. Hang on.
Get out.
There's a better one. It's smaller but more readable. Let's try that one. Oh, there you go. That one will work. Thank God for that. I think we're stuck with that bloody font. But yes, so lots to talk about in this film. A film which has been widely celebrated, revisited with remakes and sequels. And who remembers Beyond the Poseidon Adventure?
I know of it. I did not watch
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
It was a complete disaster. They reused some of the assets from this for that, and indeed in the Poseidon remake with who was it? Kurt Russell was in that.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's in the remake.
They used the same ballroom stuff because it worked so well. So it's the same dining and ballroom scenes and the same equipment almost. So the Simpsons and Family Guy have both parodied this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to show some of those clips from that, but we'll just be copyright obliterated immediately. Yeah. But there's the clip. I do have it. Maybe I'll play it of Lisa singing the song in the ballroom. You're all going to die.
That's awesome.
Most of you are going to die.
Yeah, these movies, they were this one and The Towering Inferno both had Academy Award nominated songs.
Oh, absolutely.
Associated with them on the soundtrack.
There's a little bit of Oscar action. We'll talk about that for sure. So Lord Thoth the Hoser is here. Good to see you, mate. Snorty, hello. Snorty, hello. Davina is here, of course. Good to see you, Davina, as always. Joe's here, apparently. Joe's atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm usually here.
D-Bud Martin is here. There's got to be a buying after. There might be a bath for everybody.
Yeah, right.
That's got to be worthy of an amusing video clip.
Yes.
If I can find one.
Bah.
I do have a few. Well, here we
I was not fondling my lambswool sweater. What would I do something like that for?
I tell you, the clip you better have from that movie is that stunt where the guy falls from the table into the light. That's one of the most stunts of
just
all time.
you wait. Just you wait. I have to give my great thanks to 20th Century Fox, who made this movie. I guess they're owned by Disney now. I don't know. I didn't have too much trouble with clips, copyright wise, and trailers. So hopefully that's a good sign. But yes, welcome to everybody. Let's start talking about this wonderful movie. And yeah, as I say, like the stream, share it out. Let's see if we can get a few more people in the chats. Not that there's anything wrong with those of you who are here.
This is the movie to watch before you go on a cruise, folks.
That's right. Watch this movie before you're going to cruise, just like you should watch Airport
before you get on a plane.
And before you go up a tall, tall building, watch the Towering Inferno.
That's it.
That's right. So released. I love this poster though. What great! We were talking about this, Joe. Great art.
Yes.
Great poster art.
Yeah, the poster art in this is awesome.
It is awesome. I do, as I say, I do like the thumbnail I did, which I added myself into it, diving into the water.
Yes.
If you look closely.
That's a Stars jersey.
We'll go with diving.
Diving, yes. It was. I'll make no more jokes about the word dive. It's enough. Stop it. Stop it. I was getting very wet.
Yes. Of course.
So back to the picture, back to the images. So great poster art, as we were saying beforehand. Hell upside down, which I think is a nice. I've got to take issue with this. So there's no comma, no space after the comma.
No space after the comma. I hear you.
Disagree with that.
What were they writing? AI prompts back then or something? What's the deal there, man?
I don't know. They had the
Look at the
intern.
logo for the movie, though. That's epic. I
is.
always remembered that. You know what I mean? How the letters in Adventure look like they're underwater, and the the stuff below the surface. Is
Indeed.
It's very cool, man.
I think Kathleen Kennedy was responsible for that tagline. She didn't put the space in. No, I'm just kidding. Mad Magazine spoofed the Poop Side Down Adventure.
Man, I used to collect both Mad and Cracked, and they had great spoofs of these things, dude. Yes.
If you think about it, they showed that one scene where the kid is in the bathroom, the toilets, and they're upside down. There was no shit on the floor.
Yeah, right. I guess all of them were working just fine.
Right? I guess they dumped it straight in the ocean when they were using them.
Yep.
But yeah, so this is released in December 12th, 1972, in time for Christmas, a New Year, because it's not really a Christmas movie; it's a New Year movie.
Yeah.
Although there's a Christmas tree in it, maybe it counts as a Christmas movie. Then I don't know. I never thought of that. Running time of just under 2 hours. Budget of a very reasonable $4.7 million, which is big but not ginormous.
72. Hang on.
4.7 million. Now, Towering Inferno had a bigger budget than that, but I mean there were movies that had bigger budgets. It's big budget, don't get me wrong, but not like super out of the ordinary. I love this cover. Because you don't see the sunshine. You never see the sunshine at any point.
Right.
I love they're all having a nice gay old time on the bridge there. Global box office though of 125 million.
Wow.
And could be more, obviously, because of TV and future rentals, VHS, etc., and reruns. Adjusted for inflation, about 600 million today.
600 million.
Yeah.
So that means it was a meager budget, because according to those calculations, then it would be like a $30 million.
30 million, but it's still so a 4.7, and they made 125 million. 600 million today would make you 2 Disney Plus Star Wars shows.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'd say they did well.
I love the Japanese poster. It's just nothing different about the artwork. I just always like to see Japanese posters. It's probably translated to something like
that could say
you all in shit now. Sharks coming.
Those who survive are dined on by sharks.
That was the bit they missed. They could have had a shark in the water at one point.
Right.
They missed that.
Just unreal.
It stars 5 Oscar winners, which are all shown there. Gene Hackman. That was just pure coincidence that they're all shown there. I didn't plan that. Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Red Buttons, Jack Albertson, and Shelley Winters were all Oscar winners.
Wow.
So Although I always felt it kind of had one of these, like these ensemble things, always kind of had like a more of an old-fashioned cast. I guess you could say Gene Hackman's the exception. It's still,
he was younger than most of them.
and a bit more cutting edge. But I mean, still, 5 Oscar winners is pretty damn good. The movie itself won 2 Oscars: Best Original Song,
right,
and Special Achievement for Visual Effects,
right.
Which is, and I think Shelley Winters was nominated for supporting actress. But I think it's I like this television advert here. That's a pretty neat one. Disaster at Sea. Yeah. That one's very small, so not a lot of people watched this on TV because the advert was so small.
Yeah, the Sunday night movie, bro. That's where I saw it the first time.
So Steve says, no, it just says Poseidon Adventure. Hi, like Murder on the Orient Express with sharks. That's a great idea, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And there were some skimpy outfits, which we're going to talk about. We will be patient, my Padawans. We will talk about the girls in this, although I think it was probably only a PG. I don't know. PG rating. Third highest grossing of these 70s disaster movies after Airport 1970 and The Towering Inferno. But it did have a lower budget than Towering Inferno. So kind of right up there. Beat Earthquake and Airport 75 for returns. So it's up there in the pantheon. I still need... I know some Korean. 안녕하세요. Krom. Negra, which means I.
All right.
Before you get the wrong idea, that's I. Abita.
That's too funny.
Oma. Opa. See, I know some Korean. I know more than that, but I'd have to be watching the shows to remember it. You'd have to have a budget for shark intimacy coordinators. That's elevator pitch with sharks for. Just add sharks to anything. Yeah, you'll never book a cruise again. So, box office wise, absolute gangbusters. I do remember at the time, and I did go to see it in the cinema with my older siblings. I loved the disaster movies because I was a kid. This was like, And then I never wanted to go on a boat ever again. I still don't like boats.
I won't go on a cruise, but I did some deep sea fishing when I was on Johnston Island. I enjoy fishing boats, man.
Yeah.
But as far as a big, if I can't drive the boat, I don't want to be on it.
I'm not a big fan. I mean, first of all, boats are usually full of Navy people, and you know what Navy are like. It's a gay old time. So, and I said Navy, not Marines.
We heard you. Don't worry.
So this is this is the opening night of the movie. So I kind of like what they did with it. They've got the artwork up in there, and it's next to Ernesto's Pizza House, which sounds quite good.
Yes.
The Egyptian is the theatre. That was the opening night. All the stars were probably there. I couldn't find any pictures of that. So let's look at this. Yeah. San Francisco tops Minneapolis. That's actually a Pride reference, I believe. The Poseidon Adventure.
Pride stuff wasn't going on back then. Stop it.
Yeah, 96% raves at second sneak preview, and then all the stuff about who liked it, and which they had both genders there, both genders talking about it. Females over 45. There wasn't enough romance in it. No.
I'm just noticing what it says on the bottom. Something you would not hear today. Get ready for long runs. They're talking about run times in theaters. Right. How long they're going to be in there.
Well, it was number one for 12 weeks in the US.
Come on, 3 months. It was number one. That's crazy.
It's British naval traditions. Rum, sodomy, and the lash. That's right. That's a great song by the Pogues. I think not the Pogues. Sorry, the Men They Couldn't Hang. This might be the band, or it could be the Pogues. Rum, sodomy, and the lash. Yeah, so it's quite interesting reading through these, but it was emotionally draining. I guess it was, because it was a pretty good drama.
Oh yeah, that's a roller coaster ride. This movie is for sure, up and down.
Males between 31 and 45, interesting nipples. That's not what it says, but yeah. Anyway, universally loved, I would say, is the message there. 36 million. This was when it was still, because it rolled out in different countries at different times. 36 million at that point combined gross, but still lots of territories to go, and eventually reached, what was I say, 125 million. So, genuine enthusiasm, unlike the trumped up crap that they try and do today.
Oh my God, yeah. Every movie that comes out, it's the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah,
and it's
ticket
the
site
number one
is
movie in the
correct.
world. And
Long. You guys are on fire today. Long run sounds like somebody at Taco Bell. Lots of semen.
oh my God.
Anyway, moving on to a little. We always like to talk about the background of the movie before we look at stills, and we've got lots of stills to look at. Based on a 1969 novel of the same name by Paul Gallico, who had quite an extensive career as a writer. His novel, though, was inspired by a real-life event while he was traveling on the RMS Queen Mary, as we can see here. What an impressive picture that is.
Yeah.
He was in 1937 traveling on the Queen Mary, and not in the Queen Mary, on the Queen Mary. A massive wave did tilt the ship, and it sparked in the idea of him idea of a novel about a luxury liner capsizing. It took him a number of years to get around to writing it, of course, but he wrote the novel imagining if the ship had capsized, how do you get out? Survivors climbing from the bottom. And some of the movie was filmed on the actual Queen Mary, which of course is now parked in Long Beach in California. So they did use it to film, and indeed the SS Poseidon is based on the actual model, the specs of the Queen Mary. So yeah. So Irwin Allen, the soon-to-become master of disaster, because this, I think, was the first of his.
It was the first disaster movie he did. He was like I said, he started on television. I believe he was part of Lost in Space and Land of the Giants. I mean, he had several
major name. I mean, he was actually really. I remember Irwin Allen on stuff all the time as a kid. You know, if it was Irwin Allen production, it was like, oh, I want to watch this.
Yeah, but it was mostly television. This is when he started making movies.
Well, he did do some movies before, but it was television that made his name, and I loved those kinds of shows as a kid. I loved that stuff. Yep. So here he is. He wasn't the director, but he did direct a lot of the action stuff and choreograph a lot of the action stuff. And here he is, obviously getting very excited by the fact the movie's doing so well. Like you can see him, like,
So, scientists look.
90 million people have seen the Poseidon Adventure.
Let's see what else we can blow up.
Yeah, so he actually did start in movies, though. A lot of them done for Fox. I don't know if this is a Fox one, but he had a long history with 20th Century Fox. Had done movies with Warner Brothers too. This was he had written or directed or produced stuff like the Big Circus in the 50s. That's 59. That starred Red Buttons. So connection to this movie. I don't think I've ever seen this. So it may have been on TV when I was a kid. I don't think I've ever seen it. Victor Mature as opposed to Victor PG.
Victor all audiences.
Yeah. Then the movies like The Lost World, Fernando Lamas, Michael Rainey, good stuff. Love this movie.
Claude Rains.
Look out! It's been a Claude Rains is gonna fall, as Bob Dylan sang.
That's right.
5 Weeks in a Balloon, also starring Red Buttons, and the wonderful Barbara Eden. Foxy, she was lovely. Because I Dream of Jeannie, wasn't it, Barbara Eden?
Yeah,
that's her. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's my childhood right there. Whew.
But the movie stuff kind of dried up a bit, and as you say, went to television for virtually all the 60s, mainly for
Voice to the Bottom of the Sea.
Yeah, he
Voyage
remade.
to the Bottom of the Sea was
Well,
him.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea was one of these movies, and then he remade it as a TV show, basically just using the same assets. He was famous for reusing assets from other things. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, the Time Tunnel, which I absolutely adored, because time travel's one of my things.
Land of the Giants is my favorite out of those.
Land
two.
of the Giants, yeah. So everybody was enthralled by these TV shows, and then. I guess because of the success of all that, Fox said, "Well, we'll let you." There's Lost in Space, of course, another one of his. So everybody said
Probably his most famous television show, right there.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
So Fox, having seen his success, and also seen the success of Airport 1970, which was as Universal, I think, but they said, "Oh, we want to get in some of that action. What can we destroy that's not an aircraft or not an airport?"
Right.
And all-star cast, etc. Best-selling novel. They went, we want some of that action. Irwin Allen had already optioned the rights to the novel, so Fox went, we want in on this disaster stuff. Green light, go make that movie, The Poseidon Adventure, and it's on the oceans. It's not like we're copying them. Destruction was on the menu for Fox.
Yes.
What can we blow up and sink? So a great body of work. Irwin Allen, fantastic success, but he was keen to emphasize the human drama in this, amongst all the special effects. So he actually brought on an interesting director who you wouldn't have necessarily picked, a guy called Ronald Neame, who you can see standing up with what looks like a sponge in his hand for some reason. Perhaps he was going to wipe the screen. British director, known more for drama than spectacle, but he had directed some war movies. But he was a producer and director, and I think he produced this. This was a David Lean movie. He worked a lot with David Lean. He produced Brief Encounter, which is a famous British post-war drama about two unfaithful people who meet in a train station waiting room and decide to have an affair in the space of 2 hours. You'd probably call them sluts now. No, they
Steve Trevor Howard, though.
They fall in love. It's actually a really good movie if you ever watch it. If you like movies about people in situations where they know that nothing's going to happen, and yet they know that something is there. So Brief Encounter. This is a fabulous movie that he directed, The Man Who Never Was, about Operation Paperclip.
Oh boy!
Where they tried to convince the Germans that there was a different area for the landing in Sicily for the Italian campaign, or for the landing area. So that's the one that they faked all the papers and put it on a dead body.
Yeah.
Brilliant operation, succeeded tremendously. So he made the movie of that.
Not to be confused with the other Operation Paperclip, which nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, don't talk about that. Let's not talk about it then. And then, of course, he got a lot of success directing The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, with Maggie Smith playing a Scottish school teacher, which is actually a movie I always thought that looks like a load of steaming pile of crap. It's actually subtly really good, especially as it turns out at the end that she's a bit of a bundle of sticks fan and tries to turn her students onto that. So Maggie Smith's first big work, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie.
Maggie Smith was gorgeous.
Oh yeah, she was great. She's such a good actress.
Yeah,
but he loved The Poseidon Adventure, which he did all that great directing of the drama of it. He characterized it as his favorite film because it earned him enough money to retire comfortably. So well done, Ronald.
Yeah.
Writing duties were given to a guy who we've talked about a number of times in this show, Sterling Siliphant. Wendell Mays was the other guy, but they were given a remit to cut down the sprawling novel to a more focused story. Siliphant, of course, is featured several times on our channel. Here he is with Bruce Lee, his big buddy, because he wrote Over the Top.
Over the Top. There it is.
So he's been on here, but he also wrote The Towering Inferno.
That's right.
So
the greatest disaster movie of all time.
That's right. So
if you haven't watched our show on that, go back in the playlist.
Yeah, go back and check out our Over the Top and Towering Inferno streams. Both were, I think, it was Towering Inferno was the first disaster one we did.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Actually, I think that was the first time you were on the show.
Yeah,
was
it was.
Was it? Oh, well,
it was the first time.
It's
actually, no. The first time I was on It's Only Talk and Roll was Zardoz, because I made I made a meme of Gary with
Gary's head on the body.
Connery body, yeah.
Well, indeed, and we all that Zardoz stream was actually a lot of fun. We had a good time in that stream, and
this is one of the first ones I was on. And it's my favorite disaster movie.
So glad it brought you to it.
I must be dreaming.
So Sterling Silliphant is one of our guys. Mm-hmm. He writes movies we like, and he wrote, along with a guy called Wendell Mays, who's more of a kind of a journeyman Hollywood writer for tons of stuff. He is with Rod Taylor in the making the movie Hotel. He has written a couple of films I liked. Some of the stuff I wasn't that bothered about, but Von Ryan's Express he wrote, which is a fabulous movie. Mm-hmm. Especially Raffaella Cara there. She looks fabulous.
Yeah.
And he also wrote Death Wish.
Oh, yeah. We know.
Screenplay by Wendell Mays. So shout out to Wendell Mays and Sterling Silliphant. What a writing team.
Yeah.
Nobody gets vigilante style taken out in this movie, though, which is disappointing in the Poseidon Adventure. That would have been fun.
No, but there's a hard-boiled cop in it, though. There is.
There is. If they had a vigilante and a shark, this film could have been so much better.
Right? Imagine. Over the top. Greatest
I don't want anyone to get out of this ship because it's my fault it happened.
In the background, Bronson's just feeding one of the crew to the sharks.
That's right.
Too damn funny.
So let's move on to the cast. I know we can't cover them all. It's a huge cast.
It is a huge cast.
We'll talk about some of the main ones, and we can talk about others as we go through. So Gene Hackman, the Reverend Frank Scott, a bold, unorthodox preacher who believes in self-reliance and action over passive faith, and he shows it.
Yes, it's an awesome character for him.
Yeah.
And a lot of people they associate him with Popeye Doyle, the one he won an Academy Award for. But this is my favorite character he's ever portrayed.
Oh, it's great! He brings so much to it.
For me, it's a tie between this one and his character in
Unforgiven.
No, what was the
Enemy of the State?
It's the one on the Crimson Tide.
Oh, Crimson Tide, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all know the tragic end he met, but what a great actor, and R.I.P. Gene. This character,
and self-admittedly not a very good Marine, but a Marine nonetheless.
Nonetheless, yes. But he's the Reverend Scott is frustrated with complacency, and he always is urging passengers to take responsibility for their life. So he's not God will take care of it or guy. He's like an action man of
he has a disagreement with another preacher in the opening.
Yeah, he's like
beginning of it about these very subjects.
You got to take responsibility.
During the show, it has a big, profound effect on the story. Yeah.
So I mean, but it was
very much a. Well, we sent you a boat and a helicopter. What more did you?
Right. I sent you this, and this. What are you doing here?
Yeah. So he didn't. I mean, he was a surprise choice even for himself at the time, given that his movies to this point, it was only 72, and he hadn't made that many movies. They'd all been like serious dramas and R-rated stuff. So, and he disliked the script initially, but then he thought it was far too commercial because he was into the more drama, seriousness. Yeah. But he signed on after they revised his character to give him more of a challenging the faith arc, and more action to the character, so more agency. But he wasn't adverse to some action though, because he was. There's quite a bit of that in previous years. as you say, Popeye Doyle, French Connection. There's a lot of action in the French Connection.
It was the same year, I believe.
Yeah,
it was
71, the year before, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
71.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he'd made his big breakthrough where he got Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, I think, in Bonnie and Clyde, where he played Clyde Barrow, Clyde Barrow's brother, Buck. And it's a pretty brutal movie, of course. And
oh my God! At the time, that was one of the bloodiest movies ever made. That they didn't pull any punches with the Tommy gun scene when they finally caught him, did they?
Yeah. So he'd just come off the French Connection, as you say, which is a hard-hitting, R-rated, gritty drama, but with some action in it too. So,
oh my God, the chase scene under the when we were kids, me and Danny would watch. We had one of those. I can't remember how many millimeters. I think it was 15. Is that right? One of those ones where you could. Oh, we used to shine it right here in this room on a white wall, and we watched Sands of Iwo Jima, High Noon with Gary Cooper, and this one over and over again. There were edited versions with subtitles, no sound, but that chase scene where he's chasing the elevated train, it was a measuring stick for vehicle chase scenes for a long time. That one and the one in Bullet. He was trying to recreate the magic that was created in those films.
Well, William Friedkin, of course, directed this.
Yeah.
And he's the master of those chase scenes. I mean, you got right up to Ronin.
Oh, man. The one in Ronin and the one in To Live and Die in L.A. is off the chain, too.
Phenomenal. Yeah. So, a very different role for Hackman. I'm sure he was well rewarded for it, and it made him a global superstar.
Yep.
So, great stuff. Now, Ernest Borgnine, who, if he was in Star Trek, would there have been a Borg 10?
Right.
Which I've always wondered that, that's a joke that Star Trek could have made. They could have brought him in an episode and say he's Borg of 10.
Borg of 10.
Oh, yeah. He plays Detective Lieutenant Mike Rogo, a tough, skeptical, but somewhat whiny New York detective.
Yeah, he does whine a lot, but, he's got a hot bride to keep his eye on. So,
Linda!
Under a little bit of pressure, you know what I'm saying?
And he was an Oscar winner for Marty,
Mm-hmm.
Written and produced by Paddy Chayefsky, the playwright. I've seen it years ago, but not my cup of tea. But that was 1959 or something. I mean, he'd been in movies since 51. Hundreds of movies. There's no point in going over all of them.
This guy was in so many things.
So always working. He's in up to this point. 3 of the movies he'd made are in my favorites. Flight of the Phoenix, which we're definitely going to. We've got to do Flight of the Phoenix on this. It was with Dickie Attenborough. The Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
And my most favorite of these, The Wild Bunch.
The Wild Bunch. Yep.
Just what a movie.
That's a Sam Peckinpah.
In the meantime, he's also the main character in 2 different long-running TV series, being McHale's Navy and My Favorite Martian.
Yeah, so I mean, what an actor! I mean, it's like very rarely above the line as the star, but in so many other things as co-star.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, he's kind of America's Christopher Lee. He was in everything.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but true, he was everywhere because he was so good. Yeah, and The Wild Bunch, he's phenomenal in The Wild Bunch.
Yeah, when he got older, I tell you what, man, his part in Escape from New York was fantastic.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, I've tried to focus on the stuff before that, but after Escape from New York, many other phenomenal movies. So, Wild Bunch. They actually filmed this movie not on film, but on testosterone.
Yeah,
it's a special film stock made in testosterone. You just don't get movies like this,
dude. Them 4 guys right there. This is like the Expendables, the Western. Wow.
That's right. Great movie. He also appeared along with Red Buttons in the movie which probably ended Irwin Allen's disaster run.
Unfortunately, yes.
When time ran out, 1980. But it had Red Buttons and Ernest Borgnine in it. I guess, and Sterling Silliphant was one of the writers. So that one didn't do so well, and that kind of ended Irwin's run.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, the Swarm. What the Swarm didn't kill off, this movie did.
That's right. Yeah, the final nail in the coffin. But Paul Newman got paid, so he was okay.
Yeah, he did. And it's got Jackie Bissett in it too.
I think it's got Barbara Carrera, Veronica Hamill, Burgess Meredith, Jacqueline Bissett. It's got a hell of a cast.
Yeah.
Now we move on to Stella Stevens. Stella, Linda Rogo, Mike's wife and former call girl.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes, he did.
So she knew all about the ship going down, that's for sure. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Mike's brash.
Look out.
Indeed. Mike's brash, former prostitute wife, fiercely loyal but quick-tempered and gets seasick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I sympathize. Former January 1960 Playmate of the Year.
Yes. Yes.
With a special appearance by our friend Mad. That's one of the clips I could show.
Oof.
But also, the fabulous Nutty Professor.
Yes.
She did win. She won a Golden Globe in 1960 for a New Star of the Year for a film called Say One for Me, which I've never heard of. But I'll always remember her for the Nutty Professor. Brilliant performance by her. She's so gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on, Red Buttons.
Yeah.
I wonder if he had brothers. Were they called like Green and Blue? And
Fuchsia buttons?
Silver buttons. Hey, Anonymous, good to see you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You're a small but beautifully put together chat, and you're all chatting so well, saying so much good stuff. Sorry, I got to go back to what D-Bud says. Let me highlight this chat. It's easier to highlight than if they're super chats, I'll just tell you that much.
Look out.
Ethel Merman's biography had a blank page for her marriage to Ernest Borgnine.
Right.
It says it all, doesn't it? She went down more than the ship did. Yeah, Hill Anonymous. You guys are incorrigible.
That's right.
But yeah, Red Buttons playing James Martin, a shy, kind-hearted haberdasher, single, strangely enough, and somewhat lonely. And very light in his loafers, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not Red Buttons, I mean the character. Red Buttons was married like several times to some red-blooded women. Fun fact that I didn't know this, because I wasn't that... I mean, Red Buttons, I've seen a lot of movies. I didn't see much of his TV stuff because it wasn't on in Britain. He had a comedy double act once with Alan Alda's dad, Robert.
Really?
There you go. So, the more you know, I don't have the more you know thing.
Dun, 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 dun.
In December what's very tragic for him though is in December 1941, mark that date, Buttons was set to appear on a Broadway show called The Admiral Had a Wife, a farce set in Pearl Harbor at Oahu, Hawaii. Wow. Note the date, December 1941. Then came the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. In later years, Buttons would joke that the Japanese only attacked Pearl Harbor to keep him off Broadway.
That's great.
Could say they torpedoed his stage career.
They did. Oh God, that's bad. That's a bad one. He also appeared in he was the star of 5 Weeks in a Balloon. So he worked with Irwin Allen before, and later was in, as we said, was in When Time Ran Out. Now, Carol Linley played Noonie Parry, the singer.
Mm-hmm.
A young singer in a band, emotionally fragile after a recent tragedy. And I'm not sure whether they're referring to the tragedy where her brother dies in the movie or another tragedy. Maybe she was really, really bad luck. Her drummer exploded or something. I don't know. Carol Linley is also a Playboy veteran.
Yeah.
With a March 1965 spread. And she was in a number of movies, but perhaps the highlight would be her appearance in Beware the Blob, also known as Son of the Blob.
Not the sequel to the Blob.
The sequel to the Blob, written and directed and co-starring Larry Hagman.
Wow.
He directed this movie.
Wow.
So there you go. So that was the high point.
Wow.
That was the high point of her career. Mad's getting overtime pay in this show. Yeah. Now, Hollywood supporting actor favorite Roddy McDowell plays Akers, the waiter or steward. I don't know.
We could do an entire show on this guy.
We could, and I've actually said that in my notes here. It would require a show in its own right to cover his career, which stretched back as far as 1938. British born with some Scottish ancestry, which he's playing a Scotsman in this. I think he was. It could have been an Australian. It's hard to tell. And his name Akers, I was thinking, was he kicked in the nuts? You know? He's a very helpful crew member, but very nervous about the ship's condition, as he should have been, as everybody should have been. So it's kind of a very small supporting role. He's not in a huge amount of it, but yeah, a long career. He was most famous in Hollywood, though, for having the tightest trousers in Hollywood. And we all know why. So that's 1970s trouser tightness right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's hurting my eyes.
Nothing to the imagination.
It's hurting my eyes. Yeah.
Obviously famous for Planet of the Apes, many other things, but it would take us a whole show to talk about Roddy McDowell.
Fright Night's one of my favorite ones.
Oh, Fright Night, great. Yeah. We've talked about that movie in connection with other stuff we've done, Fright Night, which I think he directed as well. I might be wrong, but I think he directed it. But also two more of these Oscar winners, Jack Albertson and Shelley Winters, who play Manny and Belle Rosen, retired Jewish store owners en route to Israel. An elderly Jewish couple, warm and devoted, with Manny being practical and Belle more sentimental. And they're lovely. You do fall in love with them. They're
and a medal-winning swimmer.
Yes, and critically, she has the best wig in the show, but also... the best floating wig in the show, but also critically a very good swimmer. And greetings to FKHC, Timmy, good to see you. So Albertson, Oscar winner for something, and I can't remember. Oh, actually, he's a Tony, Oscar, and Emmy winner.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few to have the triumvirate.
The trifecta?
Trifecta, and only the year before had played Grandpa Joe in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, man.
He's astounded by the size of the lollipop. Shelley Winters, of course, although she hadn't filmed this yet, we've talked about because she helped fight Islamic terrorists in the Delta Force.
That's right. Yep.
That's right. She's on the plane. She was a two-time Oscar winner for The Diary of Anne Frank and a film called A Patch of Blue, which I've never seen. But she'll always be remembered not for those, but for this much classier movie.
Yes,
The Delta Force.
Of course, Delta Force.
And she actually did a few canon movies in her day. She did 3 or 4 of them. So she's a canon. She is canon. Mm-hmm. So to speak, but also importantly, as we mentioned earlier, took this role very seriously by gaining 35 pounds for the role and training in scuba diving to perform the underwater scenes. So, and she did get an Oscar nom for Best Supporting Actress. So fair play to Shelley Winters. But we all know who's really the star of this film.
Of course,
Leslie Nielsen.
It's a tidal wave. And stop calling me Shirley.
Leslie Nielsen as Captain Harrison.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
And it's kind of hard to see him. He plays this role. He was still a straight man. He played this perfectly straight.
We've talked about him a few times like this. He made his bones playing serious roles.
Yeah, and this is
right,
one
up until he did the police squad stuff. And then it was, or excuse me, actually Airplane, right?
Well, I think did Airplane come before Police Squad or after? I can
yes,
never remember.
it was. It was before.
I can never remember. Yeah,
Police Squad. It was. Yeah.
but he was kind of winding down with the serious stuff, and because the roles were getting smaller, supporting roles rather than starring roles. He's firmly in rugged and reliable mode, and here he's the concerned captain.
Yep.
Doesn't like the fact that the company has interfered. They've taken the ballast off the ship because they wanted to go faster, etc., which is all part of the reason it capsizes. A beloved Canadian star, of course. But he was going to be on this show today regardless, because it was either this or Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, so
I was going to say that was the one that.
So Leslie was going to be on this show regardless. Suckers, I suckered you all into this. It was going to be Leslie Nielsen. Airplane was before. D-Bud says Airplane was before. So just a couple of others. Well, one other, and we'll leave any others to stills. Pamela Sue Martin.
I was fixing to say, I'm sitting here looking at pictures of her right now.
Susan Shelby.
Yeah.
Susan Shelby with the bratty brother who happens to know everything.
Yes.
He should have been thrown off that tree for starters. But he actually knows. He does know because he spent time on the cruise wandering around the ship, talking to the crew and going to the engine room and all that. So he knows
he's
his
the
way around.
gearhead. He's the guy that knows the layout of the place.
He knows the layout of the place. And
yeah.
I can't remember the actor's name. Eric somebody. Eric Shea. Eric Shea. I don't know what's happening with Eric Shea now because he's still alive, as is Pamela Sue Martin. Most of the cast, they were younger, but most of the rest of the cast have died in the last few years. Those two are still around, thankfully. So shout out to Eric Shea. One of the few cast members still with her. She'd been a star due to her role as Nancy Drew.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Nancy Drew in the Hardy Boys alternated.
Nancy Drew, the mystery shows. Yep.
She was later on in Dynasty. But she too had done a Playboy spread. So I'm beginning to think that was in the casting remit. Yeah. Must have done Playboy spread.
You either had to be an Academy Award nominee or, wow.
So there she is in Playboy. I can't remember which year. We'll move on for that one because I didn't use Mad. So I have to say, Shelley Winters was probably not included in
when she was younger. Yeah,
not probably included in the Playboy requirement, but you got to admit
she could have done it easily.
She got to admit in her younger days she was pretty hot. So
I don't think Playboy was around when she was younger. So she have that opportunity.
She played a few. There's quite a few photographs of her in slinky gear. So just a bit hairy. Yes, we may not get away with that one, Snorty. That might take the stream down. It was just a gentle hint.
Yeah,
I feel
it was shadow. That was a shadow.
Yes.
That's all it was.
But moving on slightly, so there's the soundtrack, which is by John Williams. I can't say it's one of my favorite John Williams ones.
I didn't realize this was him.
Yeah, it kind of isn't.
It's not one of his better ones, but that's because his later work is absolutely off the charts.
Well, exactly. I know that
Alex start somewhere, gentlemen.
Now, also mentioned in the credits is Alexander Courage, who did orchestration and some of the incidental music for John Williams. And there's Alexander Courage, of course, Star Trek theme from the original Star Trek.
The original one,
yeah. I believe that was his. So,
and well, we were saying how sharks make everything better, and the next big movie John Williams did the score for was Jaws.
So he'd worked up to it. Yeah,
we got there. We didn't quite get there in time for the ship to sink.
He didn't have the sharks to inspire him in this one. So there was a hit single, of course. Now, in the song "The Morning After," which wasn't even meant to be in the movie, and they just kind of put it in there at the ballroom New Year's Eve thing, written by Al Kasha and Joel Hirschhorn, won the 1972 Academy Award for Best Original Song.
Yep.
It was performed in the film by Renee Armand, dubbing for Carol Lindley because she wasn't a singer. But the song that hit the charts. The version at the charts was sung by Maureen McGovern.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are interested in such trivia, I personally don't care for the song, but that's just me. but hit the top of the charts, #1 hit in 1973. So can't complain about that.
No, I like the song. Of course, they tried to recreate that magic in Towering Inferno with the song that they put in that one, but it wasn't the same. This song is fantastic. It really is.
Songs in these movies, typically like this one, are typically what I'd call lounge.
Yeah, they're lounge music, no doubt. It's not
like there was nothing hip about this. I mean, even the it's a very kind of an unhip movie when you look at the cast and the stars of it and the way everybody talks is dressed. It was the 70s, but it still felt like an older movie, except for the effects.
It did. This movie harkens back to movies from the 60s, really.
Yeah. So, and the songs are the same.
It was early in the decade.
Yeah. Now, the visual and the practical effects, of course, are enormous in this.
Yes.
And
it was movies like this that gave me my love of stunts in movies.
Yeah. So L.B. Abbott and A.D. Flowers, they say to work in visual effects, you're not allowed to have a first name, just initials. Led the effects team. First names are for actors.
Right.
They led the effects team. They used practical techniques such as tilting sets. I think the set could tilt something like 30 to 35 degrees. The hydraulic systems, big water tanks to simulate the capsize. And as a result, they won an Oscar, and it's pretty effective. I mean, the stunts and visual effects are phenomenal. The realistic sets, the ballroom is on that hydraulic platform, tilts 30 degrees, so they could create that chaotic thing. And a lot of the actors performed their own stunts. Many of them picked up small injuries like sprained ankles or whatever. So there's a lot of that sliding and falling is being done on that tilted stage. Inverted sets, they built all the inverted sets, so that the tables are on the tables are on the
ceiling, that kind of thing. Yep.
So they made it brilliantly done. But as I said earlier, the dining saloon ballroom set was so elaborate they reused it in the sequel in '79, and I think they did reuse a little bit of it in the 2006 movie. The same idea, but they actually directly reused it in the '79 sequel. But the miniature is pretty impressive. So it's a 22-foot miniature of the SS Poseidon was built for exterior shots. And the craftsmanship of that, it matched the it was based on the RMS Queen Mary, and obviously filmed in a water tank for all that stuff. But it's fantastic. I mean, that's a model.
Yeah, and a lot of movies that involve ships usually use like a real life reference. Like my personal favorite is Master and Commander, where the model for both ships in the movie is USS Constitution.
Yeah. And they're beautifully done too. It's always tough to film this stuff, but it's 22 foot, so it's 1/48th scale.
It's probably, I would imagine they had to make it big because just like the Towering Inferno, they probably needed it bigger just to make sure that the water looked right on it. I mean, the smaller you make it, the more it's going to be easy to tell that it's a miniature. But if you make it bigger, then you get more of a realistic effect with the water.
Indeed. Otherwise, you get the Holy Grail thing. It's only a model.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Sorry, that's not what I was trying to do. That's the Simpsons spoof.
I think we're heading for disaster.
We're heading for disaster.
And most of you will not be saved.
Most of you will not be saved.
Most of you will be dead by morning.
Back to the models. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's
You derailed yourself, Brian.
So there it is in the tank. I should have done open image and new tab. There you go. So that's it upside down in the tank. And that's 22 feet across. So it's not a small thing, as the actress said to the bishop.
Especially when you fill it with water, that thing's got to weigh over a ton.
Oh yeah. No, this is what I think they should have done for the movie. They should have had a giant-sized human terrorizing the survivors. can't resist it. I'm sorry, I had to say it.
Too good.
I love the movie. That's why I love making jokes about it. So, Storty says they filmed the water in slow motion and used filters to make it look more in scale. So, yeah, some fantastic visual effects. There it is again, upside down. Open the new tab. There's a guy. He's trying to catch one of the survivors inside.
That's what it's doing. Yeah.
I love this stuff, and there's more behind this. There's behind the scenes documentaries which show you more of this. But and then of course they had to rig it.
Amazing, man. That is amazing.
They had to rig it for explosions and stuff, and well done. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Hey, James Cameron. They did it with $24 million, bro.
Yeah.
So you don't need that much money, bro.
So it says for the ocean sequences, the model was shot in Fox Studios' Serson Lake. So I'm not sure where that is, but a film expert will tell us. So the miniature is preserved at the Los Angeles Maritime Museum in San Pedro, California. So you can go visit the miniature.
The Poseidon.
Pretty good, eh? They should have had miniature Gene Hackmans and.
Yeah, come on, you gotta put him arguing with the other priest.
There's a miniature Leslie Nielsen looking out of that window.
Right.
Oh, that's great stuff, though. Good for them. Preserving it that's such a good thing. So I just wanted to share that.
I'm actually really glad they preserved the model, because all too often after filming, this thing just gets destroyed or goes into a prop house somewhere and doesn't get maintained. And so 50 years, it's just junk, and then someone finally gets rid of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's an interesting question. If a ship had been registered as Poseidon, would you guys want to travel on it?
Negative. Wouldn't step foot on it. There's no way.
That's right.
No way.
No way.
One does not tempt fate when it comes to the ocean.
Right.
Indeed. It'd be like traveling on a Boeing aircraft.
As one of my Navy friends says, there's only three things the ocean hates above all other things: metal, moving things, and anything that's alive.
That's right. Apart from that,
a pig metal box in the ocean that moves and filled with people. Oh, and by the way, you're going to name it after the sea god? No, bad juju.
So let's we can now talk at leisure about anything we want. Let's head through the stills and we'll follow the movie through. And feel free to riff on anything you want, both you two guys and everybody in the chat. So. I mean, even here you can see that this is obviously in that tank, the outside ocean stuff. It looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, they got the effects really damn nice for this.
And it's so the Poseidon is on its final voyage, I believe, in the movie, and it's New York to Athens, full load of passengers on it. But they've taken ballast off the ship, which is what you see the captain arguing about with this guy next to him, because they want it to go faster. So they've busy. Meanwhile, the weather somewhere there's weather shit going on, but I think it's an explosion. It's like a volcano or something underneath. So the disaster hasn't quite struck yet because they haven't introduced all the characters yet. But you can see the owners of the ship are the villains.
And I love that smug look Leslie Nielsen gives his company attaché there of just, do you want to tell him?
That's right, yeah.
I think it's your fault. Do you want to deal with this?
Yeah. So haven't you ever heard of the Titanic?
Right.
And there's the annoying brat who seems to be allowed to go anywhere on the ship.
Anywhere he wants.
That's right, yeah. And there's some rough stuff, but so far they haven't had the real disaster that comes later.
No.
Now, meanwhile, you start to get introduced to all the characters. So you got Mike here, Mike and Linda. She's puking her guts up because the food is so bad.
She needs some Dramamine. Yeah.
She needs some Dramamine. And that nurse has got the second best wig on the ship.
Hello.
It's ACG. Ernest Borgnine wants the wig. That's what he really needs. This is not a good look for Stella Stevens.
No.
Not a good look.
She looks like she's been rode hard and put up wet.
Indeed. Sure. And meanwhile, we got Red Buttons out.
Fitness junkie.
For a jog. Indeed, and the weather doesn't look great. But there's our loving couple.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Rosens.
Yep.
Sharing a tender moment, talking
And
about
here
the
we go.
grandchildren.
Yeah, this is when we find out what Gene Hackman's character is all about. Because he's like, man, you can't be passive about these things. You got to stir the people. You got to talk to him, man. You know?
Yeah, I think Arthur O'Connell is the actor that's playing the other minister. But yeah, so he wants to give the sermon. It's impassioned. It's all about do it yourself. Don't rely on God. God, God loves those who love themselves type thing, who
helps those that help themselves, right?
Yes. Yeah. Whereas the other guys, no, let's just go with the lovely groove, the peace and love groove.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of shot of the decks. Not much out because there's very little exterior in this movie. That's some of the few bits you get. Decks are bustling, close-ups of character interactions, lots of wide shots.
New Year's Eve, boys and girls.
And meanwhile, the world's hardest rock band. This is like the Black Sabbath of the seas. Children of the Sea, right here, are rehearsing for the
More
New Year's.
Bill Murray's lounge group.
That's right.
Saturday Night Live, really.
Star Wars.
That's it.
Star Wars. The music doesn't do it for me, but
well, it's not supposed to, man. It's made for old people. It's a cruise. This is,
and
that's why this is kind of accurate. Most of the people on this thing are in their 60s and 70s. So this is their bag, baby.
And Pamela Sue Martin's wondering whether she should have worn a less tight blouse.
Right.
But here she is with her bratty brother. I think they're heading to meet their parents somewhere. And she's been, I get it. She's been saddled with this little brat. Who wants that? So they're arguing a bit, but turns out he is the smart ass of the whole thing.
Dude, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have made it.
He does look like the kid on the cover of Mad Magazine, though.
Yeah. What, P. Murray?
Yeah. He does. And you can just slap him. So here's Gene Hackman going, "You're all going to hell, you sinners," or whatever. Look at you fat, corpulent, whatever. No.
Yeah.
I like that because, first of all, it's unusual to have a minister as the action hero.
Yeah. You usually don't see that,
unless it's Clint Eastwood and Pale Rider.
Usually the passive guy that ends up getting whacked because he's not going to raise his fists or anything like that. But this guy, you couldn't see any of that happening.
Yeah, that's right. He's a man of action and self-reliance, which is kind of neat that he turns out to be the action hero. He's telling him, take charge of your own destiny. Maybe he knew it was coming. Maybe God had put a word in his ear. You know what's coming. So now the shit's about to hit the fan more.
Did they get a tsunami warning? I think they did.
They did. So they get a warning that there's been a. I mean, we're not. It's an undersea earthquake which triggers a tsunami. It's not quite happened yet. I think there's still, because we've got to have they've got to get into the dining stuff first. So I can't remember what they were arguing about, even though I've watched the movie 3 times. You all want to skip over this stuff so you get to the actual disaster.
Yeah, but it all sets it up though. He really loves his wife, but he's overbearing about it. He's really jealous.
He does. He's jealous. Yeah, and she's wearing an interesting outfit.
Yeah. Nothing
much left of the imagination there.
She forgot to burn the hooker clothes when she got married.
Indeed. Well, he did. That's probably what he probably arrested her.
Right. That's how they met. He arrested her.
Years later, he'll take the fight to Superman.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, we get to this very yieldy medieval times there, and there's a funky band.
Yes, check
funky.
Out the vests, right?
It's like the Partridge Family on speed.
No, more like on Quaaludes. It's Quaaludes. In the Partridge
Family on Quaaludes. But you get to see the scale of the ballroom.
It's huge.
There's quite a few. There's like AC/DC saying, everyone knows the biggest balls are the best in here. So and they're all at the table. They're all eating. This is where it kind of looks old fashioned, I guess. But I mean, it's supposed to be an expensive trip, and it would be more old fashioned people on there, I guess.
Yeah.
You get to see the decorations. some interesting Egyptian type stuff on the wall. I find. I don't know what. Was it Greek? Is it meant to be Greek?
I'm not sure.
Same thing, really.
The captain's table, though, right?
No, I think the captain's at Gene Hackman's.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Is he at Gene Hackman's table?
No.
This is probably the purser. That's the purser.
Okay. Yep.
So now the shit is hitting the fan. Massive undersea earthquake. He's going to open that up and take his laundry out of there any second now. That's green. That's an airplane reference. He opens the screen, takes his laundry. So Leslie Nielsen, being the captain, has a phone at the table.
Of course.
How important is that? So yeah, he's at Gene. So he asks Gene Hackman to be the host. JD Vance's wife is there. I noticed. It's foreshadowing. Is that the purser? One of them is the purser, and he's a
maybe him. Yeah.
And
God, I'm in love with that girl. Oh my god!
Indeed, and why not? She's cute. And now we get the dance. See, I love the dancing in these movies. It's also fake.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The grandfather from Willy Wonka. That is correct, Soul Assassin. Yes. Grandpa Joe.
Absolutely.
So now he's talking to the expert meteorology or whatever they are, seismology people, and they're basically saying, "You're fucked."
Yeah.
And he's going, "Well, how fucked are we?"
Get walloped.
We're very fucked.
The one flaw in this movie, if you know it's coming, why wouldn't you turn into the wave?
He waits until they see it.
I know, and it's just that doesn't make any sense. You know what direction it's coming from. You've got the information.
But you know why it makes
the wave. That gives you your best chance for survival.
You know why it makes. Oh, see, John Lennon is actually on rhythm guitar on the right. So that's what he was doing. Where's Yoko? Where's Yoko?
That's the bass.
That's right. They should have
counting down to the new year. Yes.
But they should have turned earlier if they knew that there was going to be some kind of wave activity.
You know what direction is coming from. That's the one thing about this movie that just I never understood. Why the hell wouldn't you want to turn into it?
Hail Canadian Spider-Man. I think it's probably because for the script dramatic purposes they didn't.
Well, of course, but it probably would have. A 90-foot wave would have turned that thing over probably anyway. But hey, at least you give yourself a chance, right?
So meanwhile, everyone's getting hammered and figuring out whether they're going to be able to lay Pamela Sue Martin.
That's it.
Because somebody would try.
They're handing her drinks. I mean,
That's
come on.
right.
You see that champagne she's guzzling? Come on, man.
And Gene Hackman has maneuvered himself next to Stella Stevens, which is
the hooker. He wants to save her,
which is going to come in important later, where he needs some soft landing when they're rolling over.
Right.
And we get to see there's the airplane look right there.
Yep, there it is.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
That's that look right there. He's ordering he's phoned his funeral director.
Oh my god, man. Yeah.
So the party is still going, but there's seconds left. Oh shit, here it comes.
There it is. Through the binoculars.
Oh my god.
I think they do try to turn into it.
Now he says turn to the northeast.
Yeah.
Well, you can't turn that ship around that quickly.
No, you can't. It's too late. If you can see it coming, then you have waited too long.
So they're pressing all the alarms. The thing they're about to have a swell old time in the dining room.
Well, the thing is, when the alarms go off in the dining room, they're so busy celebrating they don't even know what the hell's going on.
I think it's part of the celebration, and the waves are starting to build up. This is just
Here we go.
Here we go. And I've got a few video clips of this stuff, so we will play them. And this guy's going, I'm the company man. It's my fault.
Yeah.
I am so going to go down in history as a villain.
Yes. You are the guy in Titanic that.
Yeah. No. Meanwhile, the band are on so many drugs they don't even notice.
Yep. Oh man.
And the wave. Oh my god. Shit.
Yep.
This stuff was just magnificent when you see it.
Yes, it was, man. And the tilting sets, man. It looks like they did a fantastic job.
And it's at this point the roadies were wishing they'd secured the piano a bit better.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Irwin Allen directed all these action
He
scenes.
did. He did the action stuff. Yeah, and it's starting to tilt over. And everyone's having to fall off to the side and then to the bottom. Brilliantly done.
Yep, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It holds up today. Watch
It
watch
does.
this. If you haven't seen it, watch the movie just for the action sequences.
Oh, great. I watched it 3 times this week. Love it.
Mhm.
And it's difficult when you're watching on TV, even a big TV, to get it. If you watched it in the old days on a big widescreen cinema screen back in 72, it looked phenomenal.
I'm hoping one day my local independent movie house is going to show it so I can go see it. You know, I've never seen it on the big screen. Never have.
Yeah. So let's play a couple of video clips. I have a few here of this sequence. So. Yes,
Wow.
everyone's trying to position themselves not to be under Shelley Winters.
Right?
See this clip? This is where Gene Hackman makes his strategic
Yes,
move
sir.
for Stella Stevens.
Sir.
Not because he fancies her, because he wants something to land on.
Right?
But wait, there's more.
But
I wanted to finish on the guy falling through the glass.
Yeah, that's the iconic image from this movie.
Yeah, like a ton of other people were like kind of off to the side or whatever. He's just looking straight down, like, well, shit.
Well, shit on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
cool.
there's some fantastic stuff in there. There was what was I going to say? Yeah, I'll come back to me. But it's just.
Check out the chat, buddy. Snort
Oh, it was the piano.
He says that was a Francis Steinway. Not anymore.
Yeah. They forgot to wear their web shooters. This is Canadian Spider-Man says. I know what I was going to say. Elton John was inspired later to write his album "Don't Bisect Me. I'm Only the Piano Player."
Right. Yeah, that one guy got crushed by the piano.
Right.
Didn't he?
Oh yeah,
man.
yeah. That guy was like second only to the guy going straight through the glass because he could see it coming too. Of just
Right. He's not coming.
no,
I wanted to see somebody stabbed in the head with a bass guitar, but they never showed that.
no.
That would have been metal as hell.
And of course, everyone on the upper decks, like most of the crew, is just insta screwed.
Well, they're all
it's-
insta screwed, yeah, and they're all at the bottom because now it's upside down, so they're at the
Like
bottom.
off the top of the wave is what they call it.
They're all
It's just-
drowned already, yeah. As the Reverend Scott realizes, others hold out hope. He's like,
Yeah.
no, they're gone.
Yeah.
We are it.
Yeah. That trailer you set up on the channel, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. He is pleading with them to come with him.
Well, we're going to show that, yeah. So now it's the immediate aftermath where they're trying to, save people.
Mhm.
People are still falling off the top. They catch Pamela, Sue Martin, and like whatever it is, a curtain or.
Yeah, there's the purser that didn't make it. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, there's 2 or 3 members of the crew there. One of them is the person
Right,
that says,
right.
"You gotta wait here. You gotta wait here. Everyone should wait. We'll be rescued." He says, "There's no rescue coming. How are they going to get here?
Right.
The
Yeah.
ship. The only way out is up to the
Yeah.
hull."
Well, they put that up pretty quickly too. It's just like
There he is, right there, the guy on the right. Yeah, he's the one that tells them,
but they
stay
have
right
to cut through the hull to get to them.
That's right. So they're like, nobody's coming down and in through the bottom to get you. Oh, so here she is. She's the only one. She's the only one that successfully managed to climb under the table.
Yeah.
What was she doing under the table?
Well, they did feed her a lot of champagne.
Yeah, it was New Year. They need a scuba diver that can dive 300 feet under with just a snorkel. But yeah, they get her down, which is their first success.
Don't they use a tablecloth or something to catch her?
Yeah, the brother's there.
Yeah.
Now, this is the guy that urges everyone to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all looking at him like, "Are you an idiot?"
That's right.
And there's the bartender. The bartender's the smartest guy in the room.
So Roddy McDowell, hello, I'm up here. Diddly diddly. No, I think he's a Scotsman. I don't know. It's hard to tell. And Stella Stevens is looking good, despite everything.
And the kid is letting them know, hey, this is where we need to go. He's letting them know.
The kid knows. Well, you can get out the end. There's a 1-inch thick plate at the screw and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
It's the thinnest part of the hull. That's where we need to go. Yep.
It's interesting that they divide into two completely different camps.
Yeah.
Those who are willing to try and those who are just, no, we'll wait here. Because his sermon was all about look after yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Self-sufficiency. And then they figure out how to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
Which Christmas movie.
Christmas tree. Yep.
Yeah.
Turned it into a big ladder.
Yeah, pretty smart.
Yeah. Genius. Yeah.
Scott's a real organizer. You know, Gene Hackman's character, he's an organizer. He rolls out using tied together stuff, wouldn't be strong enough.
And this is where, like, I think his experience in the Marine Corps comes in, because he plays very strong, leader type characters. That's something we pride ourselves on is, all right, this happened. Okay, this is the plan. This is what we're doing. Let's figure it out and get moving.
Yeah, you also spend a lot of time smashing up ballrooms.
Right? Especially on the Marine Corps birthday, right, Pope?
Oh, God, yes.
So the tree thing's going to work. There were tree fellers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, Pamela Sue had to rip her dress to get through there. Yeah.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Clothes started coming off.
Yes, they did. The stripping began. Yeah.
And Shelley Winters, I'll never make it up there. So somebody does have to go behind her and grab her ass and shove her up there.
Yeah, they do. They have to give her a helping hand, no doubt. Yep.
Hazard pay.
Yeah.
Poor Shelley.
A Sisyphean task, as it were.
That's right, yeah. Whereas Red Button sneakily manages to maneuver himself in with a young singer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, John Lennon died, so...
Yeah. John Lennon lost his
just
glasses.
7 years too early.
But unfortunate for who?
Unfortunate for who, yeah. I still think they should have had a Japanese woman in the band. That would have been funny.
Oh, God. Well, this was only, 2 years after the Beatles broke up? So
Yeah. That could have been a real funny reference, that like a real joke at the Beatles' expense.
And don't even explain it. Just kind of put it in there as a if you know, you know kind of thing.
Yeah. So they're heading up to the galley, which we find out later. But the others are, including this Reverend. He's behind.
Imploring him to come with him. He's like, somebody's got to stay with them.
Yeah.
That was his whole point. And he's like, dude, they're not going to make it. Yeah.
So there's everyone's going to rescue us. We'll stay here. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I mean, Ernest Borgnine.
He respects him. He shakes hands with him. He's like, okay, if that's what you want to do, man.
But Borgnine has already started his whining when they get up there.
Oh God, I hate it for his character, but he feels so under pressure with this hot wife he's got that he's just he's so jealous that he butts heads with Gene Hackman the whole time because he wants to be the alpha dog in front of his wife.
He does, but he's usually, don't do this, don't do that, let's not do this. Whereas Hackman's
you see that guy in every
go. Yeah.
where he'll criticize every idea, but he will never actually come up
with one.
Did you have the clip that you put on?
I
for
do.
The trailer? Okay.
I'm just waiting until
that was it right there. Yeah.
So the inevitable happens. More explosions. I don't know what's blowing up in this ship. But more explosions, and the people left down there are screwed.
And all of a sudden, they all want to climb the. And he's like, "Yeah, come on, get up
Right,
here. I'll help you."
One at a time.
One at a time, and of course, they lose their minds and all jump on that
Yeah.
thing, and it falls right into the.
It's like
fucking
Kevin
water.
Bacon in Animal House.
Yep.
Stay calm, one at a time.
All is well.
And so basically they're screwed. So we have those clips. First of all, the really great speech by Gene Hackman imploring them to come.
I want to appeal to you for the last time. You don't know what you're talking about. I know this much. The sea is going to keep pouring in. We're going to keep settling deeper and deeper. We may even go under before we get up to the bottom to cut our way out. But it's something to try. It's a chance. We might make it. If you stay here, you'll certainly die. We are staying with the Mercer.
We're staying with the Poiser.
Right, the
Poiser. The Poiser.
Let me point something out to you here, guys. And I'm just now noticing it. What a genius move it was. This entire movie, after the ship gets flipped, the camera is never steady. It's always drifting left and right, just a little bit, to show.
I never noticed that.
Yep.
Never noticed that.
It's crazy. How
That's
crazy
interesting.
Like that, like the little cinematography tricks like that make the movies like this.
Yep.
So Hailed to Gambit 1987, who's been sticking some interesting stuff in there about people who were originally cast and or offered the roles. Could have been an entirely different movie if you look at some of those. Burt Lancaster, Sally Kellerman, Petula Clark, who was a popular singer at the time. Gene Wilder, wow.
That would have been a weird role for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's a little. I mean, I don't think Gene Wilder. I think he was a little maybe too young for that role. It was meant to be an older guy, James Martin, the haberdasher guy,
and a little too serious too.
Yeah, it's not enough. I don't think there was enough meat in that role for a guy like Gene Wilder. But that's interesting stuff. Thank you for sharing that. I do have more of these clips from that section though. So obviously, the inevitable happens. Hang on, which is this one.
Damn, Davina.
So I think it was Shelley farted. Oh God, that's cruel. But what I was thinking was it was really inappropriate of the manufacturers of the ship to place all those explosives around.
Right.
What were they thinking?
Gravity, mercury switch explosives, because obviously gravity had something to do with it.
What were they thinking? And then this is the next bit. As we all know, the tried and true way to get people to stop panicking is to say, don't panic.
Don't panic. Yeah.
Works
Don't panic.
every time.
And that phenomenon right there is why when they teach you, like, search and rescue or whatever, you never go into the water with a drowning person. All they will do is pull you under.
Pull you right under. Yeah.
Anyway, so they're all gone. Now these guys are up at the galley area.
Yeah. And they also know they got to get moving because the water's coming in now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ticking clock of the movie.
Right.
Because until then, it's like, okay, well that happened, but now what do we do about it?
Yeah.
It's gradually sinking.
Now we need to go.
Yeah.
So the galley is a bit of a maze. In fact, they don't know if it's on fire. There's a lot of gas in the galley. Shelley Winters again. Stop panic. Keep it simple. Good to see you, Dustin. So I guess this was Ernest Borgnine. No, we can't open that. You never know. Scott is good. No, I'll go. We'll open it and I'll go in. And you can see it's a bit of really well staged. A lot of dead bodies, a lot of fires, but navigable. Yeah, Stella Stevens is already down to her underwear.
Yep.
Quite rightly. So Hackman's doing the action role here. He's doing the action stuff.
And actually, if you know anything about gas and all that good stuff, the fact that there are fires burning, that's a good thing. That means it's burning off. It's not collecting. I used to work in a glass plant, and anytime we had a fire, that was always a good sign that it was burning. We'd find out where the leak was and cut it off. But yeah, you don't want that stuff collecting and then get ignited. You know what I mean? That's when bad things happen.
Yeah, like when you can smell gas but there's no fire,
that's a bad thing. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're not talking about Culture Casino here.
Yeah, they get through there, and yeah, look, I would imagine this place would be tough to navigate upside down. No doubt.
That image right there was pretty rough, where the guy's eyes are still open, and you can tell he just incinerated. You can tell it even messes with Gene.
I couldn't take my eyes off of Pamela Sue Anderson's or whatever her name is.
Indeed, I'll bet you couldn't.
Yeah, Pamela Sue Martin. That's it. Her legs. Oh my God!
I just want to say hi to Dude Bro Seth 420 and our great friend Creedence Gold. Chris, over on the Rumble side. Good to see you over there. Thank you for watching over there. Anyway, so they got to keep moving. Yeah, this is the good thing about it. They have to keep. They can't just wait. They got to keep moving.
They got to go. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got to use makeshift ways of getting up there because everything's inverted. It's the bottom of the stairs, not the top of the stairs.
Right.
Got to get their way up there. And the kid has said, "Oh, we can go this way, or you can go that way, or the engine room's this way." The kid knows where he's going.
Yeah, because he's been running all over the ship since they've been
which is extremely impressive, given that the ship is now upside down.
Yeah. That's right. But then so is he. So really, he's the right way around. No, he's not. So they got to the burn. Yeah, they reach an engine shaft. Eventually, this poor Roddy McDowell's salary was about to end.
Yeah,
right. I can't see my name beyond page 100 of the script.
Must be some mistake. I'm not in anything after that.
I see.
Look, I was the star of Planet of the Apes. You can't do this to me. No, Charlton Heston was the star.
Right. Nobody knew it was you. You had 100 tons of med.
So this is the explosions.
Here comes the water. Yep.
But yeah, Fright Night we mentioned. I'll give Roddy all the credit of the day for frightening. Yeah, water's coming in. There's still more explosions. Again, strategically placed explosive by the company. Maybe they intended to scuttle the ship for the insurance money.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was all planned.
When they got to Athens, they could have made a show of it. Sold tickets. The imaginary special effects rocking occurred on Das Boot. Oh, Das Boot was such a good show, though.
And one of the reasons that boat, like the special effects, looked so good on that movie or show, I guess, is the crew was actually in a Type 7 U-boat.
Oh, I couldn't go in that. I'd get claustrophobic. The claustrophobia would be nuts for me.
But like that's why it looked so convincing. Is like they were actually being essentially a submarine crew in a real Type 7. So
this is the shaft. Someone's going to get the shaft here. We know it.
They're all getting the shaft. They're just all hoping to get the shaft up, not down.
Right. Yeah.
And here's what always messed me up about this. I'm not going to say who it happens to, but this sure seemed kind of final. Was that water boiling or something?
Well, it looks like it is, but how could it be?
I don't know.
So normally I'd say, well, maybe the boil.
That has to be a really hot fire if it's boiling
maybe like
water.
Steam plant, whatever. But the steam plant's above them. They're going to the engine room.
So everything below should be just, water coming in, right?
unless it's meant to represent just churning water as it's coming in.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That always confused me about this movie.
Davina, you're such a wag. The ship isn't exactly wheelchair accessible. See, if they made it now, the person in the wheelchair would be the action hero leading everyone out, and it would be a gender fluid female, whatever. They'd recast Gene Hackman with all the tick boxes. And now there's a shot for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going up behind her to help her.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ernest Borgnine.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just water churning as it's coming in. Bubbling.
There's tons of air still trapped in it because it's, it's displacing the air in the ship. So.
Well, given that a lot of the air is being held in the bottom layer before the hull, that can't get out easily. So there's always going to be air inside to a certain extent.
But
if
the
you go far
pressure
enough.
is basically it's slowly displacing the air in the ship. So that has to go somewhere. So it's going into the water and aerating it.
So I do have another clip we can play at this point of this stuff. Hang on. Gotta pick the right one. I wouldn't want to replicate one we've already seen.
This dock leads to a vertical air shaft.
Through that little hole?
This little hole, as you call it, is going to get us out of here and up to Broadway. We've climbed 4 decks so far. We've got 2 more to go. This is the only way out.
But you expect a person to fit through there?
Mrs. Rosen, you're going to crawl right through there. Believe me.
She has this illusion, always thinking she's too fat.
Find more grease.
Right.
There's a bucket of grease over there. Let's grease her up.
I can't fit through there. You underestimate how much lube we have.
That's right. Yeah, we've got the lube.
You underestimate the power of adrenaline.
Yeah.
We'll yank you right through here if we got to pull skin off.
Yeah. At some point, and I think I don't know when it happens, that Roddy McDowell's character disappears. He must have fallen in the shaft.
I think he's the one that fell into what looked like boiling water.
That's right.
But he never came up. That was my thing. I was like, that guy not know how to swim.
The thing about it is, if you fall in that water, you could tread water and find the stairs and climb back up again.
That's why I was confused. I was like, he must not have known how to swim or something. I don't know.
My guess is, and this is probably the most plausible, is he went down there, hit his head on the ladder, and that's it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's plausible.
Grease me up, woman. Groundskeeper Willie.
Grease me up, woman. I'm going in.
I don't have that clip, but I do have this.
Get your haggis right here. Chopped heart and lungs, boiled in a wee sheep's stomach. Tastes as good as it sounds. Good for what ails you.
Haven't played that clip for a while, so I thought I'd give it a run out. Anyway, let's keep these going.
We're getting there.
We are. But this part is brilliantly staged and done. I mean, it's just a series of puzzles.
Yep.
And obstacles.
I believe we're coming up to the part where they actually have to swim underwater to get to the next section. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they thought they were going to be able to navigate it, but more explosions rock the ship and more water comes in.
So they have to actually navigate a part where they have to actually go underwater.
Yeah, but they're showing. I mean, there's a lot of courage being shown. A lot of Scott is just force of nature. I mean, he's like, you can do this.
He is the only one who's like got his head on straight and is like, all right,
he's the Tony Robbins of Poseidon. That's what it is. The power of positive thinking. Let's go.
Think about it. What those explosions probably are, given how big this ship is probably internal bulkheads collapsing from the flooding.
Right. Exactly. From the pressure of the water. Right, Pope? Yeah.
I can't remember if we've passed the bit, because I haven't got every still, past the bit where they encounter other survivors.
Yeah, they did run into some survivors that were heading the other direction.
They were heading to the bow. And they said, well, why would you go there? It's good. It's the way the tilt is. It's already further
You
underwater.
want to go uphill. That's just common sense. Yeah.
And there's only one bit, which is at the stern, that we might be able to cut through. And they're like, no, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. And in fact, and that's what Ernest Borgnine's character is like, oh, we should go with them. We should go with them. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And Scott's like, no, we've got the right idea.
Like, we have an 8-year-old autist.
We have an 8-year-old autistic that we want to slap, but at the same time.
Here we go. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, he's always Borgnine's always like negative.
Everybody, man.
Yeah. And yeah, as somebody says eventually, you're a New York cop, for Christ's sake. I thought you were supposed to be tougher than this. And,
right? What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I believe they're coming up on it.
I guess you'd say that Hackman's Reverend Scott is one of the most under-recognized action stars of any genre here, because he is a bit. I know he's not shooting people, and
no,
you know,
he's taken on that leadership role. He's everybody that butts heads with him. He's like, look, you don't know what you're talking about. Keep following me. I got you.
And he's the one making things happen, making the decision, and just rolling with it.
Yep. That's right. Okay, this is where the water comes in, and they knew where they were going, and they're still headed that way, but now they've got a problem because one of the way they got to get there is now underwater.
Indeed, the sign says "Melton." Must be a friendship. If it was a friendship, it would have sank before it even left port.
Right?
Surrender.
Gave up.
Just surrendered. There may be a British warship out there. We surrender. And again, Ernest Borgnine is, we can't get that. We can't do this. We got to go back. We can't. So this part of the movie, I think, was my favorite part when I first saw it as a kid in the cinema. I was like, oh, this is thrilling stuff.
Yeah. Don't they take a rope with them for everybody to pull themselves along?
He takes the rope, and because they don't know, he said he would tug on it when he gets there, and they're counting the time, and of course the inevitable happens, he gets stuck.
Yeah. So
they know it's true that bit was done quite well. They don't know, like, should we go? Should we pull him back? What do we do?
Yeah.
There's no clear path here, and he must. I couldn't hold my breath for 10 seconds.
No, I mean, yeah, he's down there for a while,
and that water's cold.
Very cold.
The Atlantic, isn't it, or is this Pacific? I think it's
Mediterranean.
I don't know what's happening in Gambit's messages, Gambit.
Because I assumed they said they're going to Athens, so I assumed they'd already made it to the Mediterranean by now.
She decided to go after him because she was a.
Sorry, Gambit. I think there is a cap spamming thing on my Streamlabs, so apologies for that. Yeah, that's what's deleting your stuff. So yeah, just uncap them. Sorry about that.
She saves him, but takes everything he's got. Yeah.
It's Gambit. Just take the caps lock off, mate, and we should be good.
Yeah, it takes everything she's got.
Yeah. And this is one of the really heartbreaking things too, because she didn't think she could do any of this, but she's been a trooper through the whole thing and done everything she can do, and actually saves him.
And she's the one that volunteers to go after him.
Yeah,
because she knows she can swim. So.
Yeah, I was just like, "Fuck on, lady! You stepped up when nobody else wanted."
And this is where he starts to get mad. He starts to get mad at his maker, if you understand. What I'm saying.
Don't stop posting, mate. Yeah, just keep the caps lock off. Thanks for all your posts. Appreciate them. There've been some crackers in there.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it going, laddie.
But yeah, this her passing away from what I have to guess is a heart attack from overaction.
It is, but she did prove that she was a champion swimmer.
Yep.
She saves the day, and I was shocked when she died as a kid.
Yeah,
I think I was about 10 or 9 when I was, or 10. 9 years old, and I was like, I can't believe she died.
I was fixing to say we're not that far apart. I was 7.
Yeah, I mean, like a major character does a great thing and she dies.
Yeah.
That was a shocker to me that would happen in a movie, although I'd seen Bambi, so I should have realized.
Right.
Bambi, the cruelest death of any
And
movie ever.
Borgnine's visibly shaken by it. He's like, oh, shit, she didn't make it. What the hell?
That's right. And of course, there's all the blame going to Scott, but...
and it's a cool thing, too, to see who was, like, you know, not one of the more confident characters and really kind of just there for the whole movie, step up and do the one thing that ends up saving them all in the end.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because if that preacher hadn't got through there with that rope,
they're done.
They're done. Yep.
That's right. You know, the water's really cold, which is why I can't understand how Stella Stevens doesn't have visible... No, never mind.
Right? The headlights aren't on. What's up? Come on now.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yep. So they all have to come through there. Every disaster movie has this scene where everybody's got to get through there. Nice shot there, Brian. Way to go. Yeah, nice shot there.
Shall we go back?
Go for it if you want to, man. But anyway, these movies always have this scene where something has collapsed and they've got to get through. In the Tower Inferno, it was the stairwell scene where they had to get the kids up the stairwell and climb it and everything, you know.
Indeed.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the shot of the
Now,
film.
is that a stunt ass or is that the real deal?
I know, she's still got bloody high heels on. It's a disaster. You know, trying to navigate a sunken ship.
Yes.
I saw that earlier with the other one. It's like, you're going through all this and you're wearing heels still? Just like, get rid of that. You're not going to need it.
Why couldn't it have been Ethel Merman? Was she a merman or a mermaid?
Oh, shit.
Swimming in heels. I know. I mean, just ditch the heels. Break them off or something, for God's sake.
Yeah, the singer is just, wow, she's wimpette, isn't she?
Oh, she is. I've never swam before.
Red Buttons has to push her all the way.
I've never been in water. It's the terrifying.
And this poor guy's lost his wife. He's just, bummer.
Hey, Victor Fontaine, good to see you over in Rumble.
When he makes it through and then finds out what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, good to see you, Victor. Thank you for joining us over in Rumble, where if YouTube keeps going the way it is, that's where we'll all be ending up.
Right.
Hey, I got on ahead of the curve. I've been over there for over a year now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Victor is a supporter over in Rumble. I really appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, and Gene Hackman has to tell him, look, you've got to come with us. She wouldn't want you to stay here, you know? Yeah.
I do have, I believe I have emojis. Channel members both on YouTube and Rumble can use the emojis. I have some 70s rock fan ones even on Rumble.
Yeah, I just
there you go.
Flipped out 4 of them right there. Boom.
There we go. Yeah, so where are they now? They're going for the shaft.
And he gets her medal, right? And
he does.
Takes it with him.
Well, she gave him the message. You got to keep going. The message to her husband. You have to keep going. There are grandchildren. Children.
When I was watching through this again, I missed her saying that. And I thought Scott was lying to him to get him to come.
Oh, no, she did say it.
But I went back and watched it again. I'm like, no, she did actually say that. It's like, I thought he was, lying to him to get him to not.
Well, no, she was lying to him about having children and grandchildren because he wasn't the father of her children. I'm just kidding.
Kelly Winter's death made him angry. This is what sets him off right here. This is what sets him off.
Well, he's angry at God.
Yeah, he's angry about all these people that they're trying to save themselves, and you're not helping, and he gets mad about it.
And I think every man has had that moment during.
God!
You're just having a really terrible day, and then that one thing happens, and you're just looking up at the sky like, really? That's how we're going to be about this, huh?
Yeah. Right. And here's where Ernest Borgnine stops paying attention for a minute and loses his missus.
Yeah.
So Linda falls to her fiery and watery death at the same time.
Yep.
Hang on.
And Borgnine bitches at the friggin' Reverend. It's all his
the Reverend.
Yep.
I mean, she would have died whatever they did if they'd stayed where they were. But anyway, I think I have that clip. Hang on.
Just this one more door and we're home!
There it is, Mr. Rogo! Just like I told you!
Come on!
bastard was right.
See, if she hadn't worn the heels, no
right?
problem.
She wouldn't have been, on those two tiny points, and she wouldn't have teetered over,
and,
right?
He's sitting there yelling at the Reverend for it. It's just like, dude, just bad luck.
Hooking is a bad lifestyle in so many ways.
Yeah, so Dustin got the joke, going for the shaft.
But Gordon starts bitching at the Reverend. It's all his fault, man.
So
you did this.
Yeah, but the Reverend takes it.
He does.
Strike back.
And he
the others are saying that you're a cop, you should be a leader, let's but they're near the climax.
Yep.
As they reach the shaft. Petty, isn't it? Petty joke.
And because of that
now what actually happens here that he has to go and hang on this red thing?
The steam is coming out.
Steam. So that steam
they can't get past the steam, and
scorching hot.
He's had enough. He's tired of this shit, and he finally tells God, "Hey, look, if you need another life, take mine." And he jumps out there and he turns off the valve so the rest of them can get out.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I have one more clip there.
My Linda! You killed her! You killed her! You killed her! You killed her! You killed her!
I tell you, there's a lot of explosives on this ship. What's exploding?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think that's the 70s special effects version of internal bulkheads imploding under the pressure.
Yeah.
Which is what's driving the continued flooding.
That makes sense, yeah. But yeah, that's Ernest Borgnine hoping for his Best Supporting Actor nomination, but it didn't quite happen.
Not quite.
No, only Shelley Winters.
Shelley Winters was nominated. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, this is where he makes the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
Turning the.
He gets super mad. He starts cursing God, telling him, "You want another life? Take mine." And he goes over there and he sacrifices himself so the rest of them can get through.
I would have sent the kid.
He didn't have the muscle to turn the valve, bro.
You know about this ship and how it works. You go do this.
Well, I know you're the only reason any of us got this far, but get out there.
Right.
So boiler's exploding. Well, no, she fell off and burned in the the boiler. I'm just.
Well, the boilers are right on the bottom, and I've seen video of a boiler explosion from outside a ship, and trust me, it wouldn't be like that. There wouldn't be a keel left.
Wow.
So Reverend Scott has turned off the steam, but unfortunately, after being scalded and knackered, he falls to his death.
You can make it! Keep going! Rogo! Get them through!
Again, I'm not convinced that. I mean, yes, there's burning liquid on the top of the water, but there was areas that looked like they were clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
it's in the script.
Yeah, it's in the script.
So the big. Hey, I used to have ViewMaster reels of movies too.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had those.
Viewmasters, yeah.
I had one as a kid.
But my dad loved tech, man. He had the nicest reel-to-reel setup, and he got us. I think it was 15 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken. It was.
Well, you had 8
millimeter.
millimeter and 16 millimeter.
Could be 8 millimeter. Could be
16 millimeter would be the next one up.
Yeah.
We had an 8 millimeter, but there was no audio. It was just visual.
But remember, this was before VHSs, Brian. They sold these small reels. It was an edited down version of the movie. They'd edited a 2-hour movie down to 15 minutes.
We had all the Looney Tunes cartoons.
Yeah.
On 8 millimeter. We bought you could buy them, and they were great. Couldn't hear them. There's no audio. It's just
what they would do is you had your 8 millimeter film reel and projector, and then you had a record that went along with it.
Oh yeah.
So like the very beginning of the movie, it would beep, and that's when you press play.
Yeah. See, I never.
That way the audio track would mostly sync up with
the ones we watched had subtitles, and that was it. You just read the subtitles.
So there's an interesting one. They asked Hackman to be in the sequel, supposedly playing his twin brother, and he said no. See, they could have made him a shark.
Right. They finally make it. And,
they finally make it, yeah.
And then they get saved, and they're the only ones that make it.
And did you save anyone at the bow? No. So they were right about not going to the bow. This is it. There's six people left.
Yep.
And they all lost somebody, at least, except for the two siblings, the girl and the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never mentioned where their parents are.
Yeah.
They were in the bow. No, I'm just kidding. They were traveling to Athens to meet their parents. Obviously, their parents are stinking rich and didn't give a shit about their kids.
It's like that's the good ending. That like, our parents went ahead for whatever reason, and we are meeting them there. So that way, that family is still intact, but everybody else lost.
Somebody, no doubt. Except Red Buttons. He probably gained a girlfriend out of that.
He did. A very young girlfriend, though. It's a bit dodgy.
Well,
I always loved that. Irwin Allen's that last slide you had. That Irwin Allen always put a little something on there about the backstory of the show or something like that.
Queen Mary, RMS Queen Mary, which is in Long Beach. Yes. So
what was the one he put in the Towering Inferno? I think he said this film is dedicated to the brave men and women of the San Francisco Police Department or something. Fire department, something like that. I can't remember exactly what.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah, fire department, whatever. Yeah, so and absolutely. Yeah, they deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
No, like that was back when Hollywood was at least still patriotic, and even if they didn't, even the more politically charged topics, it's like they would still respect the guys who did the job, not the guys in charge, but. They're like, no, like the fire department, like Joe says, the fire department and Towering Inferno, they're like, no, these guys are the heroes of the story because they're out there trying to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you think this falls in the pantheon of disaster movies? I mean, what do you guys think?
It's definitely on the Mount Rushmore, that's for sure. The two great Irwin Allen movies are this one and the Towering Inferno. I mean, two great ones from the disaster genre. He, like you said,
when time ran
out was bad, and the Swarm. You want to laugh your ass off. Watch the Swarm.
Did he do the roller? Did he do the roller coaster one, which we've mentioned?
No,
before?
I don't believe he did. I don't think he did that one. No, I'll look it up real quick to see who did, but I
can't remember the name of it now.
That was George Siegel in that one, wasn't it? I can't.
Yeah. So, well, Pope, what's your feelings about this one?
This one's great. I mean, this is like Joe said. I think it's right up there with the Towering Inferno at the very peak of the genre, which is how it always works. Where the first few movies are all the best out of all of them, and then it kind of slowly degenerates.
Well, they run out of ideas, don't they? Well, what are we going to do now?
Yeah, or they're all seeming to try to copy what worked before, and it's like, you have to do your own thing. It's like, yes, you're already kind of using the same premise. You have to like branch out a bit.
Yeah.
This one, the roller coaster was James Goldstone was the director. George Siegel was in it, and Timothy Bottoms played the serial bomber.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it once, but
Yeah, me too. I went to see every Sense Around movie in the theater. I mean, I went and saw Midway, that one, Earthquake, of course.
You preferred Feel Around, didn't you?
Right, the Feel Around. That was the joke, right? You know, in Kentucky Fried Movie, that's what they were making fun of, was Sense Around.
That's right, Feel Around. Yeah, now coming our feature presentation, Deep Throat.
In Feel Around.
So I've always loved this movie. I think it's a great balance of spectacle, but also that tight claustrophobic drama as they got to figure their way out there. It's not all wide open action. It's very claustrophobic in places, and a lot of human drama.
I think what makes this, we were talking about the bad ones he made and the good ones. What makes his good ones really good are they're realistic. That this, you could see this happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not over.
Absolutely, and it's not like it hasn't happened. Boats have sank, capsized, whatever.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's those horror stories. I mean, we mentioned Pearl Harbor earlier. Like two or three of the battleships capsized, and you know, there's the horror stories of guys trying to cut through the hull to get at them. And unfortunately, I don't think they were very successful at it.
Right,
but they tried.
But they were. Back then, these movies were events when they came out, though. It's not like now when we've got a different one by Disney and Universal every other week. These things only came around about every 2 years or so. You know what I mean? The big movies.
Well, I just remember the sense of excitement as a kid. I mean, as I say, I was about 9 or 10. Knowing this was coming and seeing TV stuff about it, and then it's next week. It's going. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. And you go, and it was the greatest thing ever.
And they didn't wear us out with it. Okay, how many trailers have we seen for Superman now? 3 of them, right? They're almost giving us the whole freaking movie already. All we got was the little bit you saw at the beginning of this show, and that was it. And we did. It wasn't on the internet, but
this is it. We didn't have that.
Newspaper articles or magazine articles, and that was it.
Potentially a TV news thing in your local area about it,
right?
And if you wanted to see the movie, it wasn't one of these. Oh, I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix, or maybe I'll go buy the DVD when it comes out because it looks okay. He's like, you saw it in the theater, or you saw it 10 years later when it was on.
Exactly.
Waited for years to TV.
You could, if you were waiting to see it on television, which is what the first place it would go, it would be at least 2 years before you saw it. If you didn't pay to go see it in the theater.
Well, it's been a blast doing it. It's great. We've had Earthquake, Towering Inferno, Poseidon Adventure. We had 3 great disaster movies. I love them. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess we might get around to doing the first Airport. I've always seen that as more of a drama than a disaster movie.
You really want to do a good disaster movie?
I want disaster.
75, man.
75 is a better disaster movie. I think we should do The Big Bus. Isn't that a disaster movie? That's what we should do. I'm sure the chat will tell us what we should do if we're going to do another disaster, which I think we should.
Yes.
But not right now, but soon. Next week's show, though, we're going to do a Brian Wilson tribute. Yes, so we'll do a Brian Wilson tribute. I'll start planning that tomorrow. I think what I probably will get everyone to do is bring a few favorite songs, and we can talk about those. And the chat too can pick songs to talk about. We'll do our best to give him a 2-hour tribute, given the limits of what we can play.
It's hard to do with the Beach Boys. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the YouTube Rumble split, but I think I might try and keep it all on YouTube. We'll see. It's not like I'm going to if I demonetize, I don't have to have it monetized. Because I want to play a bit of music. But yeah, let's do Brian Wilson next week. There are lots of other ideas kicking around. We're definitely going to do Forbidden Planet in July that we talked about. Trying to line up a very special guest for that one. Fingers crossed. A big guest. So please. I hope you all enjoyed that. J-Dub wants the big bus, and that could well happen because that's a fun movie.
It is funny. Yeah. That movie is funny.
So I hope everybody in chat enjoyed Heaven's Gate. That was a disastrous movie.
Victor, we've already done Earthquake. He said over in Rumble.
Yeah, we did Earthquake.
We've already done that one.
We've done Earthquake. We've done Towering Inferno, and now we've done Poseidon. So there will be another disaster movie eventually. But as I say, next week, Brian Wilson, as I'm planning stuff for July. I should say that July, the 40th anniversary of Live Aid is on a Monday, so we'll probably do a Live Aid celebration. I'll get our rock and roll rowdies friends on, including Mal Craggs, who was big part of that day because he's Phil Collins' right hand man. So we'll probably do that, and there's other stuff we'll do. So, going to redirect over to your channel, Joe. After this, what time do you start? When are you on?
I start at the bottom of the hour at 6:30 Central. It'd be 5:30 Mountain Time to say it for Brian, where he understands. He thinks my time zone doesn't exist, so he considers.
Sorry, I'm listening to my wife playing with the puppy upstairs.
Oh, I hear you. But yeah, we start at 6:30 Central, and it's part 11 of Ass Effect, is like we like to call it, but it's not all about Miranda's ass. It's
just mostly
Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's mostly. But wait, well, now you mention it, now you had to mention Mass Effect, didn't you?
Yes,
Hang on.
Report to the ship as soon as possible. We're being okay.
So
we're going to be doing that here at 6:30.
So we're going to redirect at the end. So everybody go there and click the like and click the notification so you can watch Joe later. Anything else you want to plug, Mick?
No, the schedule's up on the channel. Just head over there and give it a subscribe. You guys on Rumble and X, follow me on those too. I'm on both of those too.
So Culture Casino, disaster movie, Culture Casino's underwear after eating Taco Bell and drinking Youngling.
That is a disaster of epic proportions.
That's right, yeah. That's a citywide destruction disaster.
A hazmat alert, if you will.
Yeah. Pope, my friend, thank you for being here once again. And what would you like to promote?
Well, you can catch me every Saturday over on Rumble for Midnight Mass, our little 2-hour radio show where I just play you a lot of the stuff I've been listening to, and a lot of new stuff that I discover, a lot of classic stuff as well. So hopefully you'll join us for that. And sooner rather than later, there may be a couple of other things that I'm doing that may or may not involve collaborative projects and a couple other things that I want to do. So we'll see what goes on with that.
Oh, good. Looking forward to it, mate. Yeah, that'll be good. I do love a good collaborative project.
Yes.
Bonded by metal. That would be good. As for me, I will be on Comics Division Monday Night Meltdown later tonight, I'm sure, assuming I'm not out walking puppies or it's just chaos upstairs right now. It's just playing fetch with them.
Puppy life.
What the hell? There'll be other stuff later in the week. Who cares? But next Monday, Brian Wilson. So that'll be fun. I hope everyone will be there, bringing their suggestions and thoughts about the Beach Boys and Brian Wilson. So have a great night, everyone. Thank you, Rumble, YouTube, everyone for being here, watching. Anyone that was watching on X, anyone that chatted, appreciate it very much. Have a great night. But most importantly, other than staying well, keep on rocking.